9 butter brands over 50 should avoid. As a physician, I want to help you avoid the 9 butter brands that may harm your health without you even realizing it. Because let's face it, butter is something most of us enjoy, but not all butter is created equal. Some are loaded with hidden sugars, unhealthy fats, or even dangerous preservatives. And for those over 50, these can be a silent risk to your health, increasing your blood pressure, straining your heart and kidneys, or even causing digestive issues. And the worst part is, some of these brands look so good, but they're not. They may even contain harmful chemicals that over time can lead to hospitalization. That's why it's important to know which brands to avoid and instead opt for the 2 safer options that I will share with you. So do yourself a favor and watch this video until the end. You'll be glad you did. Now let's discuss some tips on selecting and consuming butter. First, check labels and choose options with fewer ingredients and avoid heavily processed varieties. Look for labels like all natural, grass-fed, or pasture-raised, which often indicate higher quality ingredients. However, keep in mind that while these terms sound appealing, they aren't necessarily regulated or standardized, so you need to do some digging on your own. You can also try organic or European butters, as they generally have stricter production standards when it comes to antibiotics and growth hormones. Next, pay attention to the type of fat used. Unsalted butter is made from skimmed milk and cream, while salted butter includes added sodium chloride. Choose unsalted butter if you want more control over the amount of salt in your diet. For individuals with high blood pressure or those watching their sodium intake, unsalted butter offers flexibility in seasoning without the extra sodium. Consider your dietary preferences and health needs. Some butters like ghee or clarified butter have a higher smoke point and richer flavor due to the removal of water and milk solids. Ghee is also lactose-free and may suit those with lactose intolerance better. And finally, don't solely rely on labels. Use your senses to inspect the butter before use. Ensure it has a fresh, pleasant aroma and a consistent texture and color. If you notice any unusual characteristics, it might be best to discard or return it. In addition to the type of butter you choose, consider how you use and store it. When it comes to cooking, use butter at the recommended quantities in recipes. Don't automatically assume it's healthier to use less butter in cooking. While reducing fat intake has been associated with various health benefits, using very low amounts of butter might not be the best approach. For example, cooking with inadequate amounts of butter can lead to nutrient loss during the cooking process. Additionally, some nutrients like vitamins D, E, and K, which are fat-soluble, are better absorbed when consumed with dietary fats, such as those found in butter. By using appropriate amounts of butter, you can ensure better nutrient retention and absorption, contributing to a balanced and nutritious meal. Regarding storage, keep butter refrigerated until ready to use. Once softened, avoid leaving it at room temperature for extended periods to prevent bacterial growth. Properly stored butter typically has a long shelf life. Always check the expiration date on the packaging and use your senses to determine its freshness. If it smells or looks off, it's best to discard it. For those looking to incorporate butter into their diets while considering certain health conditions or dietary restrictions, there are a few alternatives and considerations to keep in mind. For individuals with allergies, coconut oil can be used as a substitute in cooking and baking. Coconut oil is solid at room temperature and has a high smoke point, making it suitable for various cooking methods. Its unique flavor can add a distinct taste to dishes, although it doesn't spread as easily as butter. For individuals with lactose intolerance, lactose-free butter or dairy-free alternatives like coconut oil or vegan butter, made from oils like palm or soy, offer suitable substitutes. Lactose-free butter is produced by removing the sugar lactose from regular butter, making it easier to digest for those with lactose intolerance. And here are some practical tips for incorporating butter into your diet. Start by adding small amounts of butter to your meals and gradually increase the quantity based on your tolerance and health goals. Pay attention to your body's response and consult with a healthcare professional. If you experience any adverse reactions or have specific dietary restrictions, for individuals managing conditions like high cholesterol or heart disease, it's essential to balance butter consumption with other dietary factors. Incorporate plenty of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains into your diet, and limit saturated and trans fats from other sources. Regular exercise and maintaining a healthy weight are also crucial for overall well-being. As we wrap up our conversation about butter, remember that it's okay to indulge occasionally, but it's important to be aware of its potential impact on our health. By being informed about the types of butter available, considering alternatives, and following practical tips for consumption, you can make choices that align with your dietary needs and preferences. It's also essential to listen to your body, monitor your health markers, and consult with a healthcare professional for personalized guidance. Do not hesitate to reach out to them if you have any questions or concerns regarding the consumption of butter or other dietary fats. They can provide valuable insights and recommendations based on your individual circumstances. Incorporating butter into your diet in a balanced and mindful way can be part of a diverse and enjoyable eating plan. Alright, now let us move on to some frequently asked questions about butter and see if I can answer them for you. Question No. 1. Is grass-fed butter better for your health than regular butter? While grass-fed butter is often perceived as healthier due to the potential benefits of grass-fed milk and cream, cows that graze on grass tend to have better overall diets, leading to milk and butter with higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids and conjugated linoleic acid. Research suggests that these components may offer some health advantages, including anti-inflammatory and potentially anti-cancer properties. Additionally, grass-fed butter may contain more vitamin D and beta-carotene than regular butter, because the cows are often exposed to more sunlight during grazing, resulting in increased vitamin D production. Also, as I mentioned earlier, grass-fed is usually hormone and antibiotic-free. Question No. 2. Which type of butter lasts longer? The good news is that both regular and grass-fed butter typically have a relatively long shelf life. However, factors like storage conditions and packaging can influence their longevity. Properly stored butter, whether regular or grass-fed, can last several months beyond its expiration date. When refrigerated in airtight containers or wrapped tightly in plastic, it's essential to keep butter away from heat and direct sunlight to prevent spoilage. Grass-fed butter, similar to regular butter, can last a long time when refrigerated. However, due to its higher concentration of unsaturated fats, it may have a shorter shelf life than regular butter. To ensure the longest possible shelf life for both types of butter, opt for higher fat content options, as the higher fat content can help preserve the butter for a longer period. Question No. 3. How do you know if butter is bad? Despite their long shelf lives, butter can go bad or spoil. Here are some signs to help you determine if butter has gone bad. First, check the expiration date on the packaging. If it's past the expiration date, it's likely safe to consume, but the quality may have diminished. Next, inspect the butter for any signs of mold growth, such as visible mold spores or a change in texture or color. Discoloration, rancidity, and an unpleasant odor are also indicators that the butter has gone bad. Additionally, if the butter was stored improperly and has an unusual appearance, such as a greasy consistency, it may have gone bad. Trust your senses and discard any butter that shows signs of spoilage or raises concerns about its safety or quality. Question No. 4. How should I read the ingredients list on butter? Reading the ingredients list on butter can help you understand what's in your butter and make informed choices based on your preferences and dietary needs. Ingredients are listed in descending order of predominance by weight, so the first ingredients typically make up the largest portion of the product. Ideally, butter contains minimal ingredients. The primary component should be cream or milk, followed by salt if it's salted butter. Additional ingredients may include emulsifiers or coloring agents, but if there are other ingredients, it's essential to review them to ensure they align with your dietary choices and restrictions. For instance, some butters may contain soy or palm oil, which may not be suitable for individuals with allergies or those avoiding certain types of fat. Always check the ingredients list to ensure the butter you choose meets your specific requirements. Spreads may seem like an innocent part of your daily meals, but the choices we make in our kitchen can have serious consequences. So today, we'll reveal the top 3 spreads that seniors should avoid due to their potential risks. We'll uncover the hidden dangers lurking in popular brands and provide practical alternatives. By the end of this video, you'll be equipped with the knowledge to protect the health of your loved ones through simple yet informed decisions about the spreads on their plate. No. 3 on our list is Country Crock, a familiar name in many kitchens, especially for those who prefer plant-based or light spreads. The tubs look wholesome, often labeled with olive oil or vegetable oil claims, and the brand markets itself as a heart-friendly alternative to butter. But here's the truth. For seniors, the label can be misleading, and the risks are real. The problem lies in two areas: labeling disputes and lawsuits. Dairy industry groups and consumers have challenged Country Crock's labeling, saying that terms like butter or made with olive oil are misleading because the product often contains very little actual olive oil and relies heavily on cheaper oils and additives. In fact, some class action lawsuits have focused on whether these spreads are marketed in ways that confuse shoppers. Additives and sodium content. These spreads are often ultra-processed, containing emulsifiers, stabilizers, and sometimes higher sodium. For older adults, these additives can interfere with digestion, medications, or contribute to swelling and higher blood pressure. Why this matters for seniors: if you switch from real butter to a spread, expecting it to be healthier but end up with hidden oils and preservatives, it may actually add strain to your heart and kidneys instead of protecting them. Someone managing cholesterol might think they're doing better, but end up consuming oils and emulsifiers that worsen inflammation. Sodium in spreads, though small per serving, adds up quickly across toast, vegetables, and snacks. Practical advice: always read the ingredient list, not just the front label. If you see long chemical names or natural flavors, think twice. If you need a dairy-free option, choose brands with short, transparent ingredient lists, for example, olive oil, water, salt, rather than a paragraph of additives. A safer alternative is simply a small drizzle of extra virgin olive oil on bread or vegetables. You know exactly what you're eating, and you get healthy fats without hidden surprises. I tell my patients all the time, marketing is not medicine. Just because a tub says with olive oil doesn't mean it's heart healthy. For seniors, choosing simplicity real butter in small amounts or plain olive oil is far safer than trusting a tub of highly processed spread. Now, let's talk about Challenge Butter, a brand you've probably seen in nearly every grocery store. It's affordable, widely available, and often ends up in family shopping carts or food pantries. On the surface, it looks like a reliable, old-fashioned block of butter. But the reality is a little different, and for seniors, it's worth paying attention. Here's the issue: inconsistent quality. Many consumers have reported that Challenge Butter sometimes smells odd, tastes flat, or even turns rancid faster than expected. Why does this happen? Lower-cost butter brands often source cream from wider regions and store it longer before processing. That extended storage and transport can lead to subtle spoilage or oxidation. The hidden risk: spoiled or rancid butter isn't just unpleasant. For a healthy young adult, it might mean a mild upset stomach. But for an older adult, especially those on blood thinners, with weaker immune systems, or with sensitive digestion, can trigger nausea, dizziness, or even a dangerous fall. Think about this scenario. You open a stick of butter. It looks pale yellow and smooth. Like always, you spread it on toast. But the next morning you notice a faint sour smell in the fridge. That's a sign of oxidation or microbial growth. If you're over 65, even small exposures to spoiled fats can lead to days of discomfort or a trip to urgent care. Practical advice for seniors and caregivers: always check, smell and taste before serving, even if the butter looks normal. Choose butter with shorter best by dates and store it in the coldest part of your fridge. If something seems off odor, color, or texture, don't risk it. Return it or throw it away. A few saved dollars are never worth a hospital visit. Challenge Butter may be cheap and convenient, but the quality and consistency makes it a poor choice for older adults who rely on stable, predictable foods. For seniors, consistency and safety are more important than saving 50 cents at the store. Now let's talk about Blue Bonnet, a name that feels familiar and comforting to many families. The packaging looks cheerful, and the slogans often highlight simple ingredients or heart-healthy qualities. But behind the friendly label, there are some real concerns that seniors should not overlook. Here's what you need to know: labeling and transparency issues. Some products under the Blue Bonnet brand or similar light spread brands have faced scrutiny for unclear or potentially misleading claims about ingredients like olive oil or saturated fat content. What looks like a heart-healthy choice may actually contain processed oils or hidden sodium. Ingredient risks for seniors: margarine-style spreads often include emulsifiers, hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils, added salt, and artificial flavor enhancers. For an older adult managing cholesterol, high blood pressure, or heart disease, these hidden ingredients can worsen the condition. Practical reality: you might buy a tub thinking it will be healthier for your heart, but in reality, the long ingredient list could raise your LDL cholesterol, increase your blood pressure, and put extra strain on your medications. Imagine this situation. A senior switches from real butter to a margarine spread, labeled "made with real olive oil," hoping it will be healthier. But when you look closely, olive oil is only a minor ingredient buried in a list that also includes palm oil, flavor enhancers, and stabilizers. The result: instead of protecting the heart, this swap might actually increase health risks. Practical advice for seniors and caregivers: don't trust the front of the package. Always read the nutrition panel. Avoid spreads with long, chemical-heavy ingredient lists. Look for products with no hydrogenated oils, low sodium, and short, clear ingredient labels. When in doubt, a small portion of real butter or a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil is often a safer choice. Blue Bonnet may look friendly, but for seniors, the confusing labels and processed ingredients make it a risky option. Safety and clarity should always come before marketing slogans. Did you know that certain common types of butter can pose unexpected risks, especially for older adults? From European imports to beloved American brands, some of your go-tos may not be as safe as they seem. And when it comes to your health, you can't afford to take chances. That's why today we're revealing the surprising truth behind 4 popular butters and what to do instead. Keep watching to discover the shocking secrets lurking in your fridge and find out which ordinary butter brands top experts actually recommend. Plus, stay tuned till the end to learn how you can protect yourself and your loved ones from hidden dangers lurking in seemingly innocent dairy. Remember, knowledge is power, and your plate can make all the difference. Don't miss out on this eye-opening exposé. Let's get started. Now, let's move on to President, the French butter that many people see as a symbol of luxury and quality. It's imported, tastes rich, and spreads smoothly, which is why it's often chosen for special occasions or when people want a touch of European style at home. But even a premium brand like this has its risks, especially for seniors. Here's what you need to know. Recall history in Europe. Certain batches of President butter have been included in European recall notices for contamination or foreign matter. That means some products were pulled from shelves due to safety concerns. The risk with imported dairy, imported foods, travel long supply chains, if refrigeration breaks down or packaging is compromised along the way. Bacteria like Listeria or Salmonella can reach the consumer without obvious signs. Why this matters more for seniors: older adults have weaker immune systems and are more vulnerable to foodborne illnesses. What may cause mild discomfort in a young person could lead to hospitalization in someone over 65. Now imagine this situation. You buy President butter for its rich taste. It looks and smells perfectly normal. But if the batch was contaminated before shipping, there's no way to tell just by looking or tasting. That's why recalls are so important. The danger is invisible. So what can you do about this? Here are some practical tips. Check recall lists before buying President, especially during times of reported contamination. Use President as an occasional treat, not a daily staple, and keep a locally produced butter you trust for regular use. Avoid serving imported butter during active outbreak periods to vulnerable family members. President may taste luxurious, but premium packaging doesn't guarantee safety. For seniors, it's smarter to enjoy it occasionally and rely on more predictable local brands for everyday meals. Next on our list is Land O'Lakes Whipped Butter Spread, the lightweight tub that many people love because it spreads so easily, right out of the fridge. It looks soft, fluffy, and harmless. But behind that airy texture lies a set of concerns, especially for older adults. Here's what you need to know. What's really inside? Unlike a simple stick of butter made from cream and salt, this whipped spread is a blend of real butter, oils, water, plus preservatives and emulsifiers like monoglycerides, sodium benzoate, potassium sorbate, and soy lecithin. These additives extend shelf life and keep the texture smooth, but they add unnecessary chemicals that some seniors' bodies handle poorly. Hidden sodium and fat trade-off. Whipped butters often advertise less fat per serving, but that's because the serving size is airy and light. In reality, many people spread more of it because it glides on so easily. That can lead to more sodium and additives overall, not less. Food safety concern. Unlike sealed butter sticks, tubs are opened and dipped into repeatedly. Every time a utensil goes in, there's a risk of introducing bacteria. For someone with a weaker immune system, this small contamination risk becomes much more serious. So what can you do about this? If you enjoy whipped butter for convenience, read the label and pick tubs with the shortest ingredient list possible. Ideally, just cream and salt. Avoid tubs with multiple preservatives or mystery ingredients. Store in the coldest part of the fridge and use within the recommended time. Don't let an open tub linger for weeks. A safer swap. Use a small pat of real butter from a stick or drizzle a touch of olive oil on toast. That way, you avoid preservatives and reduce cross-contamination risk. Bottom line, Land O'Lakes whipped butter spread may feel light and convenient, but convenience should never outweigh safety. For older adults, a little real butter is often the healthier, more predictable choice. Now, let's discuss Organic Valley, a brand many people trust because of its organic label and cooperative farming background. On the surface, it feels like the safest choice. Pasture-raised cows, no synthetic hormones, and organic practices. But here's the reality. Even organic butter isn't automatically risk-free, and seniors should be aware of some concerns. Key issues to consider: trace pesticide and residue risks. Independent testing campaigns have found that even organic supply chains can pick up residues from pesticide drift, legacy chemicals in soil, or cross-contamination during transport. While these amounts are small, for seniors with multiple health conditions, cumulative exposure over years matters more. Packaging safety watchdog groups have raised alarms about PFAS, forever chemicals found in some Organic Valley butter wrappers. PFAS are persistent compounds that break down easily in the body and have been linked in studies to higher cholesterol, immune disruption, and other long-term health concerns. False sense of security. Many older adults assume that if it says organic, it must be 100% safe. But organic labels don't guarantee zero contamination. This misunderstanding can lead to overconfidence and daily use without caution. So what can you do about this? Here are some practical tips. Rotate brands. Don't rely on one butter every day. Mix in trusted local brands that undergo tighter regional testing. Check independent recall trackers. Organic products can still face recalls for contamination. Stay updated, especially if you use Organic Valley regularly. Use in moderation even when choosing Organic Valley. Treat it as an occasional choice, not a daily staple. This reduces exposure to any potential residues. Safer alternatives: consider tested domestic butters with short ingredient lists, or use olive oil for daily cooking. Save Organic Valley for occasional flavor if you enjoy it. Bottom line, Organic Valley makes good butter, but the organic label doesn't make it immune to supply chain and packaging risks. For seniors, moderation and variety are the safest strategy. We've uncovered some alarming truths about popular butters, but don't despair. There's still plenty of delicious, safer options out there for you to enjoy. Want to know more about what to eat instead? We've got you covered. Check out our guides to healthy fats and oils. Explore our seasonal recipe collections, and stay tuned for more nutrition insights. Your plate can make all the difference, and we're here to help you make the best choices for a happy, healthy life. So don't wait. Click now to discover new flavor sensations that are good to the last bite. And remember, smart choices today lead to sweet rewards tomorrow. Your journey to better health starts here. Let's nourish our bodies and enjoy life to the fullest together. Today's topic comes from a question that many of us have been asking lately. With all those recent butter recalls, which brands should we still be eating? Now that's a great question because as the investigation into contaminated butter continues, more names keep getting added to the recall list. It's definitely confusing for consumers and raises the question of which brands are next. Well, in today's video, I'm going to break down exactly which butters you should be looking out for and why. And stick around till the end, because I'll reveal two butter options that are actually safe and worth keeping in your kitchen. First, let's review the brands you'll want to avoid. Now, these include the ones already making headlines and the ones you may soon see added to the recall list. Then we'll talk about why these brands are potentially risky, in particular, for seniors. So start taking notes. No one, any brand containing palm oil or fully hydrogenated vegetable oils. These ingredients are highly processed and typically used in margarine or cheaper butter alternatives. They're often promoted as healthier options, but they're not butter, and they're definitely not healthy. We'll leave a link in the description box below that explains further why you should avoid these products. Now to brands that source their product from France. As of now, all French butter imports have been recalled due to the ongoing investigation into the European butter contamination. Some retailers are still selling packages labeled as French butter, but even if they're currently safe, they could soon be part of the expanding recall. Again, look out for updates from the FDA by checking the link in the description box below. Number 3. Any brand with long ingredient lists that include chemical preservatives, emulsifiers or additives. Many brands use long ingredient lists to hide the fact that they're mixing in low-quality, less expensive ingredients. Now, some of these additional ingredients are there purely for cost-cutting measures, while others, like the chemical preservatives, are added to increase shelf life. And while you'd think additives wouldn't affect your health, studies have linked some of these butter additives to inflammation, allergies, and even certain cancers. Plus, if a product has a long ingredient list, it probably won't last very long in your refrigerator. Next, let's talk briefly about why these brands are particularly risky for seniors. First, the brands containing palm or hydrogenated oils aren't butter. They're usually margarine or shortening, and as I mentioned earlier, they're made with unhealthy, highly processed ingredients. Second, the French butter brands are temporarily safe to consume, but could soon be part of a widespread recall. And third, those butter brands with long ingredient lists and additives are simply less pure. They contain fillers and chemical preservatives that can affect your health over time. Ingredients that you can't pronounce or don't recognize are probably best left off your plate. So for the sake of your long-term health and well-being, it's best to skip these butter brands altogether. Finally, let us move on to the 2 butter options that are actually safe and worth keeping in your kitchen. You'll want to add these to your grocery list next time you shop. First, Tillamook. Now this is a cooperative brand from Oregon, and it's one of the most dependable choices available in the US, unlike some mass-market butters with long histories of recalls. Tillamook has a relatively clean track record for its butter products. 3 reasons why it's safer for seniors. 1. Transparency. Their ingredient lists are clear and simple, typically just cream and salt. There's nothing unnecessary in their products. 2. Quality control. Their cooperative system means better oversight of dairy production, from the farm to the package. And 3. Consistency. Consumer testing repeatedly ranks Tillamook high for both taste and safety. Now, a practical tip for seniors: stick with the basic salted or unsalted sticks. Store them in the coldest part of your refrigerator, and use within the recommended time after opening. Next, we have Plugra, also known as European-style butter. Plugra is a premium butter with slightly higher butter fat, 82% compared to the typical 80%. Why it's safer and worth considering. First, stable reputation. Unlike many brands caught in recent recalls or controversies, Plugra has maintained a clean safety record. Second, quality. Backed by Dairy Farmers of America, Plugra benefits from consistent sourcing and strict production standards. And third, better flavor, smaller portions. Because it's richer, you naturally use less. A thin pat on bread or a small portion in cooking delivers lots of flavor without overdoing the calories. Finally, real food, no gimmicks, short ingredient list, just cream and salt, no emulsifiers or additives. Now, a practical tip for seniors: consider keeping Plugra as a special occasion butter for baking, holidays, or when you want superior flavor. For everyday cooking, rotate with a lighter option. At the end of the day, butter itself isn't the enemy, but not all butter is created equal. Even organic or premium-sounding brands can sometimes carry hidden risks, from packaging chemicals to unnecessary additives. For my patients, especially older adults, I always recommend choosing simplicity. Look for butters with short ingredient lists, ideally just cream and salt. The fewer additives, the better. Trustworthy brands only. Stick with brands that have a clean track record for safety and transparency. And 3. Moderation matters. A small pat of real butter can absolutely be part of a balanced diet when combined with lots of heart-healthy foods like vegetables, whole grains and lean proteins. So what do you think? Do you have a go-to butter brand that you'll continue to buy? Or did this video change your mind about trying something new? Either way, I'd love to hear from you in the comments section below. Please hit the like button, share with your friends and family, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, remember to take good care of yourself, because you're worth it.